There is a global renaissance of understanding and awareness happening right now. I want to actually be a part of a catalytic change in systemic transformation. People think that there are no miracles, and others think that the entire universe and life is a miracle itself. You could say the same thing about mathematics. People think that mathematics is random. Or others might actually say, as I believe, that the only things we call random are those things we haven't discovered the pattern for yet. The pattern exists, we just haven't yet perceived it. It's outside of our realm of intelligence. You could rank order, in a way, our ascension or understanding as a species in consciousness by the degree to which we perceive randomness versus pattern. My motivation in life has been just my own inspiration for learning. I'd say that's probably the biggest theme of my entire life. I just have this incredible curiosity to understand why things are the way they are. For the last 5 years or so, I've changed a lot how I kind of perceive the world around me. I think that the change in perception has probably led to a change in my own experience and reality. But I'd say the most profound of those shifts has been the incredible self-journey that I've basically gone on. I never thought of myself as really someone that might be a mathematician. And I still don't really consider myself a mathematician. I think that mathematics, I look at it very differently now than the way I did before. Changing our viewpoint of what mathematics is the key to unlocking mathematics for us. I see mathematics as a musical and artistic language that is expressed in geometry, where geometry is the sound that we see with our eyes. That's kind of a powerful concept. And when you understand that math is just a language of communication with the universe, then I don't really consider myself a mathematician. I just consider myself a human being who is learning the language of the universe. My career has been a wonderful journey. As I've kind of gone through life and learned more and more about who I am and what I am, it's probably something that most people don't necessarily fully recognize who they are. I was a business person that was like, in the thick of things in major industries. I was a pharmaceutical CEO and medical device company CEO. And, probably no one would have suspected that I would be doing the types of things that I'm doing now. I started out as a musician. I went to college and I had a music scholarship, and at some point I decided that I probably wasn't going to be a musician the rest of my life. And so I decided I loved the idea of helping people. I didn't want to be pigeonholed into one category only, and so I decided to go into healthcare because it could take advantage of different aspects that I was very interested in. I was also interested in a sound-based medicine concept that I literally had dreams of in 1999. My dream was to learn how to play DNA like keys on a piano keyboard to get the very best out of our biology, but without any of the negative side effects that come along with pharmacologics. So I decided to go in the pharmaceutical industry for that. It turned out to be a fantastic career. People are always asking me, what do you think about being in the pharmaceutical industry? Isn't it like bad? Isn't it like evil? and all those things. And I don't believe that I know anybody in the pharmaceutical industry that is evil, but I think that there's something wrong with the institution of the pharmaceutical industry. That's why I was very eager not to participate in it in the same way. I went through kind of a major life change, and I decided that the things that I was doing weren't necessarily, they're not bad and they're not necessarily great either. It was just simply, they were no longer serving. I'm still involved in certain ways through investments and otherwise, but I definitely feel the need now to see a sort of systemic change in the healthcare industry. I think it's an area that really requires a real overhaul and makeover, and I would like to be able to help catalyze some of that change as well. I am grateful for my time in the pharmaceutical industry, for the medical device industry. I had an experience that allowed me to express my persona as much as I could so that I could figure out my path home. Sometimes you have to travel into the world outside and go far outside of where you started from to realize just how powerful it is when you do come home. The one thing that I think I've learned through life is that the more I learn, the more I realize the less I actually know. I'm lucky. I've been to about 140 some odd countries in my life. I've lived in 9 countries. Because of my basic curiosity in life, I wanted to learn the languages because I wanted to learn the cultures of the local countries I was living in, and the best way to learn those cultures is by learning the language. When I started to realize through travel that these different experiences were opening my mind and helping me see different perspectives and viewpoints, I just constantly love to do it. It doesn't matter where I am. I could be in a car, in a taxi in India, and I want to talk to the taxi driver. Or, I could be on some street corner in Paris and talk to anybody. And that's been kind of a philosophy of mine for life. Of all the discoveries, I think those are probably some of the most powerful, those memories of moments of expanded awareness just by seeing and hearing somebody else's viewpoint and feeling it too. In the last several years, been doing a lot more travel that would be in more of the category of adventure travel, I guess. To Egypt, to Peru, to Mexico, and ancient sites. Almost like these adventure kind of treasure hunt type of trips, which have been phenomenal and an incredible enjoyment for me. There have been so many, I could probably spend hours on hours on hours talking about things that we've discovered, around the world. But again, all of it was looking at it through the prism of the you inverse. It's all about self-discovery, which is the best kind of discovery of all. I use music to really formulate a lot of the ideas mathematically. There really is no separation between music and math. It's just, they have a nexus right at geometry. You'll see kind of many different aspects of mathematics, from complex equations around mathematical constants, all the way up to and including physics and the world as we experience around us today. Just like working in music or working in mathematics and geometry, that's meditative for me. Working with my hands is also meditative for me. 2015, I actually just went to the store in Laguna Beach and bought all the supplies that would be necessary. I remember going to the front desk and asking the lady there, I said, well, I want to sculpt, and what do I have to buy to sculpt? And she says, well, you need to get some clay. You need to get some structure to be able to sculpt around it. You're going to have to put wire and everything inside of it. And she said, are you taking a course right now? I said, no, I'm just going to start doing it. I had no idea what I was in for. I had many mistakes along the way. And then next thing you know, I'm sculpting. And I felt like I'd been doing it my entire life. I just have this incredible connection to it. It's meditative for me. I've made several sculptures now, and I absolutely love it. And the funny thing is I didn't try to do it with any mathematics in mind. When I find myself going into this zone, they just come out mathematically correct from the perspective of proportion, as well as from the perspective of the Fibonacci spiral and golden mean and golden ratios. It's all sort of embedded in our own consciousness. And so when you can connect to that consciousness, when I do, then it comes out already mathematically oriented in the proper proportion. When you start looking at mathematics as being the underlying language of the entire universe around us, then you see mathematics, and you might not even realize that you already have a relationship with mathematics. And that relationship could be through music. That relationship could be through art. That relationship could be through anything that you find aesthetically pleasing. My purpose here, I'd say it's probably the same as all of our purposes here, and that is to understand who we are. I believe in destiny, and I believe that embedded in the past is the future, and embedded in the future is the past. The two are entangled. They cannot be separated. I kind of tend to believe that the universe is not the universe as much as it is the you-inverse. That we see the world around us and the universe around us in the terms that we ourselves are already, rather than as they truly are. If we could start to recognize that we are not separate from the universe, but rather a part of the universe, we are the universe. I believe that we are moving rapidly towards a new paradigm, and that change is inevitable at this stage. Nothing will be the same. There is a moment, I think, and this moment is actually now, where the system needs to be looked at differently. Our system has created this perpetual duality perception, and I think that system needs to change. I've always thought that democracy can withstand, changes. Democracy is good for iterative changes, but not really good for transformative changes. Our entire monetary system needs to be revamped as well. This monetary policy is creating these long-term periods of debt for students. And it's really breaking down the educational system as well. But most people can't see how it's connecting. If we can change our perceptions on things, then that can have a massive impact on the world in and of itself. I hope that one of the things that I can help do is help to be a catalyst for change in a system that just no longer serves us. We're ready for another evolution. That's what the American people and people all around the world see. Maybe a world with less boundaries. Maybe a world where we can all be more connected. We're born into separation. We're born into feeling like we're completely distinct and different from everyone else around us, and we want to build up our own masks and our own personas that differentiate us and identify us. And most importantly, it helps identify ourselves to us. And I think each of us learning to accept ourselves is tantamount to us being able to accept everyone else and the circumstance and time even around us. Once we can experience acceptance of others, we will then accept ourselves fully and will feel good enough. We'll realize that we were never not good enough. We were always good enough. It's just that it took us a long circular path and journey to come back to that conclusion and realize who we actually are. When we know we've tapped in to this universal kind of consciousness, what happens is it comes out equally balanced between science and art. We need to move out of just this polarized perspective and recognize it's not just black and white color, we have a whole spectrum of color. So there's a whole spectrum of opportunity to see different viewpoints. And that's what geometry does. It expands your viewpoints. If I can help to impart something, only one thing, it would be to look at the world with rose-colored glasses, and most importantly, look at yourself with rose-colored glasses as well, and recognize that you are great just as you are. We all are. That empowerment can help change the world around you. Be the change you want to see in the world. In point of fact, we all are very similar. We all have similar needs. We all want to be loved. We all want to be accepted. Socrates said, know thyself. It's actually the most difficult thing we'll ever probably do in life. But as I've gotten to know who I am better, I think I've fallen more and more into alignment with kind of my own true purpose and what I would like to do for the rest of my life. There's a global renaissance of understanding and awareness happening right now. And as people free their minds and their awareness and consciousness lifts and perspectives shift. And as the heart and the brain kind of merge together in this heart-brain consciousness, you're going to see only more and more and more of these new realizations for humanity. I think we're here because we're here to learn who we actually are. And that's the greatest encryption of all.